Hello. Good morning. I hope everyone is doing fine. Just like always, you have really kept safe. I want to assume that you're all doing fine. Here we are again to continue from where we ended the other time about tissue respiration. Last time, remember, we had earlier seen that respiration occurs in 3 stages. We talked of glycolysis, the Krebs cycle, and the electron transport chain. So we saw all the 3, and we noted that if respiration is aerobic, we end up yielding 38 ATP molecules from 1 molecule of glucose. We also saw that during the ETS, the electron transfer system, we have a series of electron carriers that we called the cytochromes. We also noted how ATP is synthesized within the ETS, and that took us to what we called the chemiosmotic theory of ATP synthesis, or chemiosmosis. And in that we saw that energy, or ATP, is basically formed as the protons move from the intermembranous space across channels called the chemiosmotic channels back to the matrix. And I think that's where we ended in the previous lesson. So we saw the chemiosmotic synthesis of ATP, and we saw how we get the total of the 38 ATPs from 1 molecule of glucose. However, those 38 ATPs that we saw arise if respiration is aerobic. But if it is anaerobic, then we shall not get the 38 ATPs. Why? Because during anaerobic respiration, Krebs cycle and the ETS do not take place, just like we shall see ahead. So today's lesson, we move ahead and we look at what we call the phosphocreatine, also known as the Creatine Phosphate system. Now, what do we mean when we talk of the Creatine Phosphate system? Or what do we mean when we talk of the phosphocreatine system? In our bodies, just like we talked of ATP as a form of energy, energy can also be obtained in the body from another chemical known as creatine phosphate. Creatine phosphate, also called phosphocreatine, is another chemical which provides energy, just like ATP. But now the difference is phosphocreatine, or creatine phosphate, provides energy within a very short period of time. Meaning parts of the body that require much energy, but within a very short period of time, that energy is provided by or from that chemical known as creatine phosphate. Remember, it is a compound similar, it's a compound just like adenosine triphosphate. So for it provides much energy just within seconds. And as such, it is found in muscles, but they are muscles which we call the short twitch muscles. Short twitch muscles. These are muscles that contract, they undergo contraction, but their activity occurs within a very short period of time. So they are contractions within a very rapid, meaning they require a quick supply of energy. Remember, muscle contraction requires energy. So in the short twitch muscles, they have both creatine phosphate, they also have ATP. But that quick supply of energy is provided by creatine phosphate. Creatine phosphate, just as we hear the word creatine phosphate. It is a combination of creatine and phosphate, meaning that if energy is needed within the body, phosphocreatine splits into creatine and phosphate, thereby releasing energy. But that splitting or that breakdown of phosphocreatine into creatine and phosphate, releasing energy, occurs within a very short period of time. Therefore, if energy is needed within seconds, then the phosphocreatine becomes the source of the energy. How? By it decomposing or breaking down into creatine and an inorganic phosphate. However, phosphocreatine and ATP are both found in the muscles, meaning that creatine can provide energy, but its phosphate, the phosphate formed, can equally combine with ADP to form ATP. So just like we're seeing phosphocreatine splitting into creatine and inorganic phosphate, providing energy needed by the muscles within a short period of time. But that phosphate from the phosphocreatine can combine with ADP, forming ATP. That is why we have said that phosphocreatine and ATP are both found within the muscles. However, just like we said, that ATP and phosphocreatine collectively provide maximum muscle energy. They provide maximum energy to the muscles just within seconds, 8 to 10 seconds. So in summary, creatine or phosphocreatine or creatine phosphate is another compound in the body, particularly muscles, just like ATP, and it breaks down into creatine and phosphate, releasing energy within a short period of time. Now the phosphate from that breakdown can combine with ADP, liberating ATP. Moving on, when we look at the supply of energy, the blue curve is for creatine phosphate, shows us the yield of energy from creatine phosphate. Creatine phosphate liberates much energy. There is a rapid release of energy within seconds, within a very short period of time, after which it rapidly drops. Why? Because for it, its energy supply only occurs for seconds. Phosphocreatine cannot provide energy for a long period of time. No, it only provides energy for a short period of time, only seconds. That is why we see that there is a rapid production of energy for creatine phosphate within a short period of time, and then it rapidly decreases. After which, we now have ATP. But remember, ATP can be formed from aerobic or anaerobic respiration. When we look at the green curve, it is representing energy yield from anaerobic respiration, while the black one from aerobic respiration. But we see that the yield of energy from anaerobic respiration is lower than that from aerobic. Aerobic respiration meaning it yields more energy than anaerobic. Why? Because with anaerobic, a lot of energy remains trapped within the pyruvate or within the pyruvic acid. But with aerobic, pyruvate is fed into the Krebs cycle, whereby more energy is extracted. More NADH2 is formed, more FADH2. Then proceeding to the electron transport system, energy is formed, released as a result of oxidative phosphorylation, which does not occur in anaerobic metabolism or respiration. That is why we see that aerobic respiration yields more energy than anaerobic respiration, while creatine phosphate yields as much yields as much energy. Creatine phosphate yields as much energy as the energy yielded in aerobic respiration from ATP. The difference being that for the creatine phosphate, energy is formed within a very short period of time. We see a curve of ATP, energy rapidly decreasing for the first seconds. Why? Do you remember in glycolysis, energy is needed to form energy. ATP is needed to form ATP. Therefore, those seconds where we are having a reduction in the amount of energy or ATP is as a result of the first stages of glycolysis, where ATP is used to form ATP at the end. More so, within the muscles, remember, ATP can also be used as a source of energy, thereby explaining to us those curves or those graphs.